Hey guys, it's Francina Simone. I am actually a very busy person. I decided in 2020 I would stop saying that I have all the time in the world or that I'm not busy because the reality of it is I am a mother. I have two kids who are still very young and we're in the midst of COVID. So they home all the time. They've always been home all of the time because I am also not a rich bitch, so I don't have a nanny or other people who watch my kids. On top of that, I have a full ass career as an author, and I also have booktube, and I'm a creative person, so I do a whole bunch of shit on the side that most people don't even realize I'm doing because I'm just a whole freaking person and I'm multifaceted, and everybody ain't got to know everything about you just to know that you're a busy person. So I'm going to stop saying that I'm not busy and start telling the truth. I'm a busy bitch, so I will not have time to edit this video. I'm going to try to make it in a straight shoot. If I have some pauses or say some crazy shit in the midst of it, work with a bitch. So I want to talk about, everybody's talking about being black on booktube, and I would love to add to that, but instead I'm going to talk about being me on booktube specifically because I think I have a very different experience than an awful lot of people just because of how I take up space, how I move throughout this sphere, the author sphere, my trials and tribulations, the pros and the cons, what I see, and all that kind of bullshit. I'm just going to do what I normally do and tell y'all the truth as Francina sees it. So, first things first, in the year of our Lord 2020, our Lord being COVID, we're going to talk about what's happening, how it's happening, why, what to do, and the problematic language and behavior that I observe, etc., etc. I'm going to talk about it through the lens of not only how I see it objectively, but also me as a person, so you guys can understand where I come from, because I realize that most of y'all don't know shit about me. That is on purpose, because again, I'm a multifaceted person, but why you got to know everything about the ins and outs of me just to experience a selective piece of me that I give you? That's not to say how I show up here is dishonest. What most people, I think, find funny is when they meet me in person, I'm the same person as I am on camera. I have different modes where if I'm speaking in an authoritative place or somewhere where I feel like I'm speaking my truth, that's what I mean. I'm only the authoritative person or authority of me only. So when I'm speaking my truth, I speak like this. But when a bitch is being a dumb hoe, she speaks like this. Like, it's the same person. I'm all of those things. It's just, depending on what I'm talking to you about is how and who you might get in that moment. But best believe it's all me and it's always me. I don't put on masks and I don't wear masks for very specific reasons that we will get into, because 2020 is really unmasking an awful lot of folks who did not want to have to rip that bitch off. Am I right here? So we're going to talk about these things and get kind of into it. So I made a list. It's very it just says that what I read to you, because I like to try to stay on track. So where was I? Already we fucking up. I want to talk about what's happening in the world 2020 as what I want to talk about what's happening for black folk and how now everybody is starting to see it and getting freaked the fuck out because what's happening? Why is everything burning? Why are they looting and rioting? What's going on? Is it because one black man died? Like, come on. We're going to talk about that. What's happening in America right now is the unveiling for a specific group of people of something that they had the privilege of not seeing before. White privilege has nothing to do with your economic status, your income, that's the same thing, has nothing to do with your struggles in the world. Bitch, a struggle is as common as a penny. Quote me on that. Your struggle is as common as a penny. Everybody has struggles. However, white privilege is the ability to not have to experience and or see some struggles that other people have that are doubled down on because somebody is standing on top of them. White supremacy white supremacy is the ability to stand in your whiteness and exert that on others to gain things in your favor. So while you might struggle as a single mom who has to do X, Y, and Z, bitch, people see you totally fucking different than they see a black struggling mother. The vibe, the language, the ideas about the life, the bias that comes into it are two totally different things because they do not just see her as a mother who is struggling. They see her as a black mother who is struggling. So this is why feminism, or white feminism as we speak on it, is not the same thing as intersectional feminism. So actually, let's get into it a bit. It all started back in 1619 for us American black folk, when we was forcefully brought over here on boats. Doesn't matter why we were brought on boats. Let me put it this way. In the world before this, people were doing all sorts of kind of fucked up shit to other people, exerting powers over other people for all sorts of prejudice and or other reasons, usually based off of economic power. But at the same time, most people of colors was trading with each other. They didn't want to be fucked up with each other. People were xenophobic as fuck because, as I mentioned in videos previously when I talked about culture, culture is the killer of anything that is not itself, right? So people was trading though, because they were like, "Ooh, you got them silks?" And the Chinaman was like, "Black man, what you got?" And they was trading. They didn't like each other for the most part, but they could trade. But then the white man came and said, "Ooh, y'all got gold? We gonna kill all y'all and take all your gold. Ha! And your spices and not use them." That was unfair, but also a truth. So in this world where white colonization really started to uproot, you had people colonizing in other places, yes, but no one colonized and pillaged the entire world like the white man. And that is the root of white supremacy. Anytime your culture has to take over another, you have to uphold your culture and demolish the other one. But you can't demolish it completely because you need them to understand that they are separate so that they can work for you. So you built them a new culture within your culture, one that holds them here while you are here. Now, for all of you who are a little basic and don't understand, especially if you white and you're like, "I just don't understand what's going on. I just want everybody to love each other." Let me put it this way. It's an odd thing that in World War II, we thought we killed the Nazis, and yet for years upon years in America, the epitome of beauty, economic success was the white, Aryan man and woman, blonde hair, blue eyes. Do them look like Nazis to you? How is it that white supremacy over here was killed and Americans were like, hoo, patriotism, we're for the melting pot. And yet you go over to America and all of a sudden the same ideals look the same. Y'all was hiding Nazis and calling it patriotism. That's it, end of day. Why? Or what is happening today is the unsurfacing of that. You were just now starting to realize that all of your culture cues came from white supremacists. All of your understanding of who you are as a woman, especially white women with you in your ivory towers, white women who don't like being uncomfortable, white women who hate Chad. Everything is always about the white man Chad. All of you take your cues from white supremacy. You cannot. You were born white, so you take your cultural cues from your parents who were born white. And white culture is a colonizing culture. So, therefore, you take all of your cues from the colonizer. Now, you may have thought that you were progressive because you tolerate and or love people of color, because remember how I said up until recently, our beauty standards, our standards for success, all the brochures and all of the positive and great things life can offer you had them white Aryan people on it. Well, now they have people who look like Kim Kardashian. So now that y'all have the technology to colonize the black woman's body, progress don't really look like progress, does it? Just because you think you were progressive, because you look at the black and or the woman of color, because all people of color fit into this category. I know I'm going to say black an awful lot, but as far as I'm concerned, if you got melanin, honey, you black. You might not be culturally black, but the world sees us all the same. We are people of color, and we're going to talk about this too, because the systematic structuring of dividing the minorities is a thing, and we're going to discuss that, and we're going to discuss all sorts of other things in there. Hopefully. I'm going to have to keep track on time here because we're not editing this. However, as beauty images and standards changed, they only changed so that white people could still partake. Hence why you got white women who talk about they cake. You weren't born with that cake most likely. And if you were, ooh, yay on you, but it ain't cake. Cake is a black body. The terminology comes for uplifting black and bodies of color that do not look white, that are not genetically white, and yet the appropriation of culture. This is where it comes from, the idea of appropriating culture that isn't yours. It has nothing to do with you not being able to partake in things, for sure. When I lived in Japan, I partook in Japanese things, only because I was in Japan, so I better live like these people. I lived there as a permanent kind of permanent, only for 3 years. But as a permanent resident, I worked in their government. I worked with their children. I worked in the same room with other Japanese people. My entire life was full and surrounded by Japanese people. So lo and behold, while I do have other cultures within me, I was going to adapt to the culture that I was in, and I was going to behave in the way that those people expected me to, living in their country. So that is not appropriation. It is assimilation, however, but assimilation that was consensual on me deciding to go there, on me deciding to partake in their culture, on me deciding to make connections with people who invited me into their homes to partake in these things. It was all consensual. That being said, what is not consensual is deciding that now that it's trendy, or that you are going to reject your daddy, because let's call him Chad, because it always comes back to the white man and the white man patriarchy. When white women especially decided that they were going to reject Chad, and young white men decided they were going to reject Chad because they can't stand parts of their culture, that just doesn't seem to make sense, because inwardly we all know that white supremacy is about the dehumanization of others, and all these kids were in progressive schools. They had a little bit of diversity. They was enjoying other stuff. They was enjoying other people, and inherently they knew some of these things that they were doing in their mind weren't right. So they just tried to jump on and appropriate something that wasn't quite theirs, but they wanted to be a part of. The reason why that is not consensual is because, at least in America, I ain't talking about all y'all around the other world, because I don't know your struggles and how you struggle and the coded language, but I do know that it all sniffs and looks the same for the most part, but I'm not going to speak out of pocket here. So for in America, in these contexts, the reason why appropriation is wrong is because... And please listen clearly, because I need y'all to understand this for once and for all. When you take something that doesn't belong to you the first time, and then people try to make something of themselves within your system, and then you take something that they tried to use to build themselves up back, it's just colonization over and over and over. And you got the wrong generation. This generation, especially Generation Z, who was born under times of conflict, consistent tension. All these kids are depressed. They are ready to die for something instead of by suicide. So y'all got the wrong generations. Because millennials, we ain't got nothing to begin with. So we ain't got nothing to lose. And them Gen Z are like, we really don't have anything to lose. We were ready to check out. But here we are. If we gonna do it, we might as well do it standing for something. Let's do. So I just wanted to explain that what's going on in the world right now is the unveiling, the unsweeping of the rug. We pulling back the rug and looking at all the dirt. What's happening now isn't something that just cropped up. What's happening now isn't something that hasn't been a conversation. And what's happening now is you are being told that you have to listen to this conversation because you no longer get your privilege. You no longer get the privilege. No one is going to recognize that privilege except for you and your family. Just like people don't like to recognize, let's say, Black culture, different Asian cultures, different cultures that make up the Hispanic, again, colonization, because I even hate talking about people who speak Spanish, all like they're in the same pot, because that's colonization. And another thing, these people who got different cultures all over the thing, just like the Asians, white supremacy, we can't get it out. My point is, when you are consistently telling people that what's going on in their world, and there are different things that we don't like, we don't want to see or take part of, that's white supremacy. And what's happening now is we're saying, fuck you. What we don't want is your white nonsense. Take your white nonsense and go away. And the chaos and the burning and the looting and the angry and the rioting, most of this shit ain't even happening from people of color. Most of this shit's happening from white people who just cannot deal. Corona decided that she was going to come over through. White people decided they had to be super racist about Corona, so we had to rename it to COVID because for some reason white people just could not leave the entire Asian population all over the globe alone. They had to say, all y'all look the same anyways. You're all Chinese and you're all carrying the disease. So we had to rename it to COVID because white people just could not And then, let me back up a little bit. Before this, World War III was about to happen, where our president decided again he had to go make terrorism a thing. He had to go paint all the Muslims one thing and decide how they were going to live their life and be meddling in that. So we have the Muslims who are now terrorists. We have Corona, which the whole world had to rename because racism was behind that yet again. And then we got kids in concentration camps still, please, concentration camps, but we thought we killed the Nazis. We got them poor kids in concentration camps, which they are starting to gas. And then we decided, while COVID-19 has the world on its knees, indiscriminately killing people left and right because half y'all is nasty and can't wash your hands, because all of these patriots in America think it's their right to kill people, white supremacy at its finest. All lives matter. Because we have all of these elements colliding all at once without anyone to distract us. No work, no capitalism to distract our little busy bee ant minds from what's really happening. Then we had the age-long, 401 years. We are 401 years in the making of the age-old song of white people just killing black people indiscriminately. And considering there is no distraction, nothing to stop it from happening, here we are in America 2020. And you know what? I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad. I'm not mad at all. In fact, this is where I want to kind of impart in a little bit of my experiences as a person, an entire fucking person, that I think honestly led me to the place that I am today. For the most part, I want to recognize that I have the second largest following as a black creator on BookTube. Maybe still, I don't fucking know. It was for a while. Naya had the first. And my girl Naya, just watched her video recently. I watched Jesse's video. They uploaded a video 4 days ago as well recently, and so many other. Lauren from the novel Lush uploaded one recently. So many people did. Let's be honest. And I'm going to try to link things below. I am busy. Y'all should already be following these people. I shouldn't have to do the fucking work for you. And also, you can just Google Black BookTube, and I'm pretty sure all these people are going to fucking pop up because we all got that hashtag in our tags. So anyways, I just want to say that I did have like the second largest following, and I want to explain why, because I knew why, and it was very obvious to me. One, I speak the truth all the time, but I also come across in a way, because it's authentically me with my black culture, that is palatable to the white ear. And also because I'm intellectual. You have no idea how many times I hear, oh, you're so articulate. Yes, I know, because I'm a person who is intelligent. But intelligence honestly is nothing. You can be the smartest motherfucker in the room for all I care and still be a dumb bitch. So let's get clear here. Articulate meaning, as a black person, they just were so refreshed that I went against a bias that they didn't even know that they had. That even though you may mean it in directness to yourself, well, I could not do X, Y, and Z. Well, so just because you can't, why do you think I shouldn't be able to? Why are you surprised? It's inherent coded biases that I have had to deal with my entire life. But I want to talk about me growing up a little bit. Black in America, especially as a black woman. I was born in Germany. Both my parents were in the military or worked for the military, and so I was born there for a little bit. I came from a broken home. My father was a deadbeat, also lied to my mother about his other kids that he had. Let's see. I grew up in the ghetto for a good portion of the time. The SWAT team did come to my house. I did wake up as a child. It was the year that Mulan came out. And for those of you who are always questioning, I was born in 1989. So y'all can go out and find out when Mulan came out on VHS. Because I remember I went to bed. I was so excited. That was my favorite Disney movie up to point. I was like, yes! And my guppies had just had little babies. And yeah, the SWAT team, I woke up to a flashlight in my face because I lived in the ghetto. Which is how it goes. Also, growing up, I went to different schools all throughout elementary school. I have been in the lowest performing schools that were in Florida, and I was in some of the highest performing schools that was in Florida. I had moved to a different state in Connecticut that had some of the highest performing schools and some of the whitest of communities. So I have experienced that, which all of it, and one of the lowest ones, which all came with a lot of different coded racisms. So I have had so many different experiences, and I am not not even done. I'm only touching the tip of things. I have gone to a magnet school. I've gone to schools that are diverse. I've gone to schools that are heavily white. I graduated from high school and went to an HBC. The Rattlers. I went to HBCU. I have then gone to a university that is predominantly white and the most predominantly is white state in Idaho. I have lived abroad in a country that was zip when it came to white. I lived in Japan for a really long time. I have gone through motherhood. I am into an interracial relationship, and no, my husband is not white. I have experienced so many different things as a Black woman that I've realized for a very long time, I always would wonder, like, why is it that I always, like I get the extremes on both fucking sides. Like, when people talk about you gotta work 10 times as hard, you gotta be 10 times as beautiful, you have to do X, Y, and Z. Bitch, I have done it all because that was my life. Consistently. I was always put at the bottom and had to work 10 times harder to get anywhere to the top. And finally, but when I decided to come on BookTube and decided to live my own life, I said fuck it to all that. I was just gonna live my truth. And so here I am, and this is who the true me is that you guys get to see, or at least partials of it, because y'all don't deserve to be all up in my family life or my lived life or my past life or all of these other things. But I wanted to share that with you to explain this. The reason I am the Francina that you all see today, someone who can clearly speak truth on so many different objective levels, is because I've lived so many fucking lives that it's hilarious. So I've lived so many goddamn struggles. When I say a struggle is worth a goddamn penny, they are as common as the penny. Ooh! They are. I have been around so many different kinds of people. I've been around so many goddamn tears on how this is so hard, or this is so this, or this is so that. I have experienced so many goddamn trials in life on so many different escalated levels that, you know what? I have no sympathy, but I do have an awful lot of fucking empathy for all plights in life. That being said, even I understand to the fucking fullest how ignorant I am on all of the facets of life and the lives that people live. And so therefore, I can speak to you guys with a facet of truth. And I can say, let's get to the next point on the dear old iPad. How is this happening in the world of 2020 today when we are all supposed to be so great and getting along, right? Again, speaking only as an American and from the American perspective, because I find that it's easier for me to be nuanced when I do such thing. Y'all, and I especially want to say to white people right now, y'all's culture is so deeply embedded into who you are not even equipped with the knowledge of how to question yourself. You're not even equipped with the tools and the knowledge of how to dismantle the racism that resides within you. That's not something that you were born to do. That's not something that your culture ever gave you. Your culture only ever gave you the tools to build upon the backs of others. You don't know that you're doing it, but you are. So that's how we got here today. Am I saying that it's your fault for being born white? No, but it is your culture's fault, and it's your fault for being too daft after many people have spoken to you to being so ignorant that you never stop to question, ooh, why the fuck am I so dumb? Like, how can this other person have such a grandiose different perspective than me and me not know? For instance, on the book community, let's make it something that's easy for people to digest. When people decide that they want to read books that portray bad portrayals of different things, and they're like, well, I just didn't know. Okay, but now you do. So why are you comfortable reading it? Maybe you know intellectually, but you have not dealt with any of the isms inside of you that allowed you to be ignorant in the first place. That's why if you read a book that someone has told you is wildly racist, and you're like, I can still enjoy it, aka Twilight. All y'all who want to be rereading Twilight through the eyes of the fucking perpetrator who is a serial goddamn toxic abuser. Edward, ooh, let's go get into it for nostalgia. Bitch, your nostalgia is the fact that you did not deal with the fact that you support toxic masculinity. And you support toxic masculinity through the eyes of a woman who is clearly okay with being in her mind, abused. I would honestly question the kind of relationship that she has been in, or the relationships that the author has been in previously, that would cause her to write a romance in a way that is so flagged with so many goddamn toxic red flags that we're all like, it's cute. When we were younger and didn't know any better, which I'm not going to say we, because I was reading that shit and I was like, oh my God. But I was also in my teens, late teens. But I want to say to y'all, if y'all are over here like, well, we can still enjoy it or relive the nostalgia, that means you still withhold all of those toxic things inside of you that you never dismantled. You intellectually know it's wrong, but you don't care. And if you can do that with something that white people are plagued with, toxic masculinity, right? White feminism is always trying to fight the patriarchy and the toxic masculinity. If you can do that with something that would directly impact you as a white woman in your life, what do you think you do with this shit that will never, ever touch you? Whoa. Speaking facts. Okay, let's move on with what to do. So here's another thing that I often see and hear when people are like, well, and this is something that was from the past, like, when is an apology not enough, right? Like, I apologize, but they keep, like, it's like everything I do is wrong. Yes, everything you do is wrong. I'm going to be honest here. Everything that you do that stems from whiteness, unless it's having a conversation with yourself and others about your whiteness and being able to alter the way that you see the world outside of whiteness, unless it's that, you're doing it wrong. Yeah. Or I should say, it's not inherently wrong. It's just going to cause a lot of fucking friction with other people. So wrong or right is a matter of subjectivity, right? If you showing your whole racist ass in front of me and I say, bitch, back the fuck up, you could take that as you were either wrong, or you could take it as, you know, she ain't for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to be wrong. The thing is if you're trying to be right, whatever that fucking means, if you're trying to do something and be accepted and to be loved, which again is another facet of, I want to say specifically, white women culture, the need to be loved by everybody, because in white culture, everyone loves the white woman. She is the trophy to the white man. So she is conditioned to believe that she should be loved by everyone. That is what we call the princess complex, right? Everyone should always come to her aid. She is in the tower. She should never suffer discomfort. And if she has, Cinderella, all those princesses, if she has to suffer discomfort, it's because no one has recognized the princess within her yet, but soon they will. That is the white woman complex. And those who rebel against it and think themselves allies with other marginalized groups. No, bitch, you ain't my ally just because you're rebelling against some Chad complex or some Chad concept of whiteness and shit. That doesn't make you my ally. You are still steeped in whiteness because your life still revolves around Chad. The act of rebelling against or the act of working with is still the act of in coordinates to Chad. You have not stepped out of your whiteness. So the idea that you will be able to function in a right way by just apologizing or by automatically thinking, well, I believe that Black people or people of color are humane and I will move forward in that vein. Good on you. From here on out, stop trying to be performative. Now take a step back, look at yourself, and start to really define who the fuck you are without all of that nonsense. Who are you at the core of it? And why is who you are so wrapped up in whiteness? And really start to focus on that. Look at the people around you. Look at your mother. Ooh. Look at your grandma. Look at your aunts. Look at the people your friends, the people who are in your life, and start noticing a fucking pattern. Look at the people, and here's the thing, is racism isn't about, I'm not like the KKK. I would never support someone who's up here for lynching Black people. As many times is we consistently, especially as Black women in the booktube community, have to support white women in their tears because they think that they are being compared to some KK cross-burning motherfucker. That's not what's going on here. And no one's going to support tears on that. You have to do the goddamn work. So that being said, what can you do? Girl, you can take a deep look inside of you and dismantle the whiteness within you. Just like everybody else and every other ethnic group in America has had to take a look within themselves and dismantle the whiteness within us, because it is a thing that is far, it is deep, and it is reaching. Anytime any one of my family members ever told me, you have to work 10 times as hard, that is whiteness. That is complacency to accepting white supremacy and hoping that you can either work within it or beat it. That's not saying, girl, fuck white nonsense. Like, you don't have to do all that. It's something you don't understand because you've never been held up to black standards. If y'all did, y'all'd wash your hands more. I'm just being honest here, because in black households, and I know black culture and black people around me can really attest to this. We talk about cleanliness an awful lot when it comes to black versus white communities. And y'all icon Taylor Swift don't even wash her legs. I think she just uses a bar of soap and she's like, the water and the soap will rinse down. So when I'm talking about these things, if we held y'all to our standards, then you'd understand. You'd know what it would be like to be, oh, here's a good point. You know how you feel like you're under a microscope right now, that everything you do is being watched, everything you do is being cataloged. That is the life of a minority in America. Anytime we walk into a white room, we're being watched. The way that I speak is the way that you're going to either assess whether I am too black for you or white enough for you. My intelligence, my level of attraction to your white male peers. This is another thing that has always gotten me, which is hilarious to me, is the way a white woman reacts to me before Chad is interested in me, and the way she acts after Chad takes interest in me. It's okay if he just thinks I'm some type of whore, some sex commodity, right? But as soon as Chad takes interest in my intellect, which, to be honest, I get it. I'm a smart bitch. I get it. I'm a magnetic bitch. I get it. Because I come and my waters are deep and I run. Ooh, the depth of me. I understand. Bitches be in love. However, the response of the white woman, especially when she is my age or older, ooh, it is always unanimous. It is always met with some type of hate, and the racism always jumps out. It is the great indicator for me, always on a personal level, whiteness. Like, how white are you? How white are you? You like me and you like being my friend. You like using some of my lingo. You say you love this and that and this and that. But let's see, how white are you? As soon as, it doesn't even matter if it's a dude she's into or not, take some interest in something that seems beyond my physical appearance. Woo! The racism always jumps out. Or vice versa, the man, the white man. Let me be intellectual on a deep level that is somehow triggering for this. For this white man. The racism always jumps out. Always. So, I want to say, what can you do? You can step away and you can educate yourself. Ask yourself, how far does your whiteness go? And ask yourself, why is it so bad for you to be labeled as white? Why is it so bad for someone to talk about your whiteness? Y'all always talk about my blackness. Y'all always talk about how you love a black queen. Well, okay, I like a white somebody. Maybe. These days, y'all showing too many colors. But my point is it's going to be uncomfortable for you. The thing about equality is it's not about dragging someone down. It's about the fact that so many people of color are standing up, which makes the basis for white supremacy topple. So you're not being dragged down, honey. We just standing up. And the fact that you are only comfortable on top is your whiteness jumping out. That's it. Be uncomfortable. Everybody's always uncomfortable. It happens. Like I said earlier, struggle is as common as a penny, so deal with it. It's okay. It's not about being violent. Just because y'all oppressing asses is super fucking violent and always got to be beating the shit out of people and choking people and killing people left and goddamn right, don't mean the rest of us will partake in all of that just because y'all are on equal terms and equal levels with us. And the fact that y'all parents, y'all peers, y'all have some fear about that means that you recognize your privilege. You recognize it, and and you don't want to let go of it because you scared. You don't want to be treated like the rest of us, only because you think the rest of us savages. And I'm going to tell you, it only takes a savage to stand on the back of another and call that equality. I'm just saying. So come to a reckoning with yourself. The world is not coming to an end, and here is where we go into the witch bitch prophecies, okay? The world is not coming to an end, but we are in an apocalyptic time, apocalyptic of paradigm shifts. No, this is not going away. No, this isn't just a trendy thing at this moment. This is a moment where people get to decide that they are done. They're done. They're becoming and they're stepping in the truth of who they are. And the truth of who they are does not serve white supremacy. That's it. We are in a time where telepathy is a thing because you know what? Somebody could be in a riot in Minneapolis and I can use my iPhone to see it live. I don't need your media to tell me what's going on. I don't need your media to pacify the rage and the anger. I don't need your media to tell me that it's people like me who are burning things and beating things. No. I saw that white man do it. I saw them cops land them bricks. I saw those cops kettling people like cattle into streets and holding them there past curfew only to turn around, gas, and beat them. I saw it. I don't need you to tell me what happened. I don't need you. Ooh, I don't need you. I don't need you. And that's okay. It's okay. Boo-boo, we shouldn't need to need each other for anything. We need to be whole within ourselves. And that's the thing. We don't need white supremacy anymore. And that's the message for today. Is that there is nothing terrifying or scary happening. I mean, like, yes, things are terrifying and scary. Let's be that. But I'm talking about ain't no reckoning. Jesus ain't coming down on no chariot. I should say white Jesus is not coming down on some white chariot that is Roman-esque to come like deliver those who were yes and deliver those who aren't. No. But the truth shall set you free. The reckoning is here. And for those of you who believe the lie and the delusions of whiteness, those of you who will still be clouded, who can be blind, color blind with your lies of white supremacy and whiteness, are just falling off the map. Just like them crazy people that we don't really claim, like the Tiger King. You know the Tiger King, y'all. You know how we don't claim them people in America? We're just like, those are strange. Those are just strange. Like, we don't really claim people who behave that way. That's where whiteness is going. We don't claim it. I don't claim it. It's not mine. It's not mine to do with. I'm just going to be me. I claim who the fuck I am. And who are you? Who are you claiming? Do you know who you are? That's where the truth is. That's the reckoning. Do you know who the fuck you are? So y'all, I want y'all to go forth and figure that out. Always with peace and love. I am so happy that it is June. We are in the middle of Pride Month. We over here priding about Black lives, Black queer lives. You know, like, it's just so amazing to me that 2020 really is it. It really is it. We've been waiting for this moment for a very long time. People everywhere just waiting to be seen, to be heard. And this is the first time where voices are global. And it's beautiful to me, okay? I know that a lot of strife is happening. And to be true and to be honest and to be fair, change never happens comfortably. If you are comfortable, it ain't change, baby. That's all I'm saying. It ain't change. So if you want things to be peaceful, then find peace within yourself. And if you can't find peace within yourself because you are rooted in dehumanization, you are rooted in some type of supremacy, and this goes also for people of color. Don't think that white supremacy has not reached you. It is within you. I have experienced it even on this fucking platform, not with booktubers of color. No, I haven't really experienced that. I have experienced it with authors of color, yes. Many motherfucking occasions. The white supremacy that they think lives in the guise of Black power. No. Ooh, the insecurities that jump out when I speak my truth. The like tangling of my truth to fit their narrative. Because they are so used to being token and fighting for the token spot and thinking that that is Black power. Because they were fighting with the white supremacy within themselves. I do not hold grudges because I understand. Because it is hard. And everybody will come out of this with scars. Except for me. I try to keep it like poreless and clean. Nivea cream, I'm not trying to rep them because I don't know. Don't even buy Nivea. It sounds like a white company. They be putting collagen in their stuff, which is nice because I got them baby hands. But you know who be needing collagen? So I don't know. I don't know if I can rep Nivea like that. Shea butter. Black African shea butter. Moisturize it. I have no idea where I'm going with this. My point is I do not hold grudges against people who are consistently fighting and battling their insecurities, where their insecurities have led them astray because they're trying to fight the white supremacy within. I don't hold it against you, but best believe you will stay at a 10-foot radius. You ain't coming in this bubble, bitch. Like, that's just it. So I stand behind everything I have always said on this channel because everything I have always said was rooted in my truth, bitch. And if you can't do that, ooh, that's just awakening. And I don't expect people who were children when they created these channels to be able to do that. I don't expect children in general to know who they are because they are growing up in households that are diluted with lies. And I don't care what color you are, what ethnicity, what creed, whatever you are always growing up in a household that is inundated with its own propaganda and shit like that. So I don't expect children to be, oh, well, whatever. But you as a grown-ass adult and you acting this way, 10-foot radius. And I'm disappointed that you can't speak in your truth, even though you you would like us to believe you are. So I have felt it, and I have got it, and I have dealt with it from all sorts of different places because white supremacy reaches far and wide. That is the whole point of it. But today, we don't stand divided. No. We all stand for truth. And I can love you and disagree with you on some points unless your opinion is based in the dehumanization of me as a person. That's a quote from somebody, and I will figure it out at another time. Anyways, this video is long. I love you guys. Honestly, I have been blessed on this platform. Honestly, smash it. Where's she at? She has been blessed. I'm actually going to film a video really quick for this in just a second. But honestly, the reason why this was my debut book with a traditional publishing company because I wanted to write about a black girl who is not living in a white supremacist world. Though there is racism, she is not, her story is not embedded about the tragedy and the befalling of white supremacy upon her. She is a story of joy and a story of overcoming and finding the truth of who she is. And if y'all really could take one thing away from this video, it is go figure out who the fuck you are and go find your truth. And I hope you the best on that quest. It is long, it is everlasting. You are always going to be changing. Adapt, change, bitch. Like, never stay stagnant. Don't think that you have to be who you were before. Don't think it means that you were less because you are constantly flip-flopping between who you think you are and who you really are. That is change. Don't let anybody ever tell you different. So with that being said, guys, I love you. I will talk to you later. Tito, ta for now. Bye.